Hello, hello, it's Memento, and I'm here with a different sort of YouTube video from what I usually do. I'm going to be showcasing 6 scary games I played during Steam Next Fest. I know, I'm a little behind, I'm sorry, but I still really do want to highlight these games, most of which are actually available right now. So most of them actually have had their full release, but if you didn't catch the demo, if you don't know whether you want to pick up the full release, I'm here to hopefully help out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to showcase these 6 games. I'm going to talk a little bit about each one and then mostly showcase the gameplay. I recorded this time with no face and none of my audio, so it's raw gameplay with me talking over it. I know that's a different sort of format, so I would really appreciate knowing what you guys think. So we are going to start with the first one, which is Mom. Mom is a game where if you like RPG horror games such as Eve, The Witch's House, Mermaid Swamp, this is the sort of game that I think you would be interested in, and that's why I picked it up actually. So when I played Mom, this one to me felt a little bit unpolished. There were some places that were missing translation, and there were some places that were just missing a little bit of that special something. That isn't to say it's a bad game though. There were still so many wonderful things about this game. So I'm going to go over my ratings really quickly and let you guys see the gameplay. First up, we have the music. I gave that a 3.5 out of 5. The music is really beautiful, but it's not there all the time. I want a little bit more balance between the music, the silence, and the audio effects. I think with that, it could really take it to the next level. The characters to me were a 4 out of 5. I'm intrigued by the characters, but I didn't feel like I knew enough about the characters to really get a good feel for whether I was rooting for them or in love with them, or whether they were a more villainous character. I just wanted to get to know them a little more. The story itself was also a 4 out of 5 to me. I like the idea that Mom is like, you cannot leave the bedroom, and the little girl is like, I want to leave my bedroom. What's Mom up to? So I like the baseline of the story. I just wanted to see a little bit more. It was a short demo, and I think the story has a ton of potential. The mechanics of the game, I'm going to give a 3 out of 5, and that's mainly because there really wasn't much to the mechanics. Due to some of the spacing issues you're gonna see at one point when I was trying to like figure out what to do with the food, I actually cut it down, but it took me a few minutes to find out where I needed to even go with the food, and it led to a little bit of frustration on my part. I wanted a little bit more. A lot of these RPG horror games do have pushing and pulling mechanics. They have little puzzles you can do, and I didn't get to see any of that in the demo. That's not to say it's not going to be in the main game, but right now I didn't get to see much of the mechanics aside from talking to people and the flashlight that I couldn't get to turn off. It says I can turn it off, but I pressed a whole bunch of buttons on my keyboard and never figured out how to do it, and the controls were not written in English, so navigating that to figure it out was a little bit complicated, and that kind of... I didn't need to turn the flashlight off, so it didn't completely ruin my immersion or anything, but I wish I could have, just because it was a mechanic. And lastly, the horror elements, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. It's got some jump scares. The moments where you get the weird staticky overlay are really cool, and I want to see more, but it wasn't terrifying to me. And I want just a little bit more of that horror element, whether that be jump scare horror, psychological horror, or something else. I just want a little bit more. Overall, if you like RPG horror games, I think this is a really good fit for you. I just hope that in the full release, which is out now, there's a little bit more polish. They fixed the translation stuff, which it could just be that the demo, they didn't fix all of that, and in the full release they did. moving on to the next game of my list, we have Project Vostok. This was chapter 2, so I knew going into it that I would be missing pieces, and I was okay with that. I have not played chapter 1. So, going into it, I was like, alright, it's a visual novel. If you like visual novel games like Cooking Companions or Doki Doki Literature Club, I think this would be a good fit for you. I quite enjoyed it, even if I didn't always know what was going on. So the music of the game, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. When the music plays, I love it. I think the scoring of this game is really good, and I think there are certain moments where that silence is even better. My main issue was that there are times when the music fades out and there's just nothing. So I wish that I could have had a little bit more. I wish the music was on a loop, so it was playing a little bit more consistently, so those moments of silence were very targeted essentially, instead of it just fading out sometimes. So sometimes it felt intentional, sometimes I was like, oh, the music track ran out. In terms of the characters, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. There were a lot of characters to get to know, and you kind of knew where it was going. You knew that the boy was the boy they were talking about in the flashback at the beginning of the chapter, and I think the characters were interesting, but I didn't get to know them a ton, which again, it's a demo, and that's okay. There is some intrigue, so honestly, getting a 4 out of 5 on characters in a demo, that leaves me intrigued, that leaves me wanting more, and that makes me feel like I want to try the full release of the game. The story was also a 4.5 to me, and that's because it hits deep with me. Plane crash, abandoned like testing facility, cave system, like out of the frying pan into the fire. That's absolutely something that really intrigues me. Honestly, real life stories of I listen to a lot of like real life horror stories, and that sort of thing can be so intriguing. I know that's a little bit bad. I listen to a lot of true crime, I'm sorry. It makes me think of some of those stories I've heard. It also reminded me a little bit of a webtoon that I read called Chasing Tales, which is a similar but not quite the same situation, where some people, the old case is some people getting stranded in the wintertime and having to survive, and that kind of like that entire situation really intrigues me and really makes me curious. So the story left me feeling very curious about what would happen. The mechanics, I gave a 3 out of 5, mainly because there wasn't much I could do. And I know it's a visual novel, and I totally understand that, but I wish there was a little bit that I could do. Also, the choices I made didn't matter in the demo, which is fine. I wish they had done, I played a little while ago, I played a demo of a game called Me-Side, and you get a final choice, and the one option is grayed out because it's a demo. I wish they had done that in this game, because you get a pew-pew and decide whether you want to keep it or give it to, I guess, the person you're close to. And I was like, no, I'm not trusting anyone. And it didn't matter, she had it anyway. So I wish they'd grayed out the other choice and just kept it linear. I think that would have helped, because that did take me out of my immersion a little bit. And I wish that there was like a little bit of something that I could do. A little bit of a mechanic in there aside from just reading dialogue and making choices. I know that's mostly what visual novels are, but I feel like a lot of them, if you look at like Doki Doki, you get to write the poetry, that's a mechanic you can have. So I wanted like just one other mechanic thrown in there. And last but not least, the horror element. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I didn't find it particularly scary. It wasn't haunting to me. There was nothing that really stuck with me after I played it. I was intrigued to find out more, but I wasn't scared, I wasn't horrified, or anything like that. And now I'm going to let the rest of the game demo play out, or at least the parts I chose of the game demo, to show you guys so you can hear some of the beautiful music, see some of the story, and see what I mean about the pew pew. Alright, the third game on my list is Tempus Triad. I saw this game and immediately got excited because you guys might not know this, but I love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs, I love Jurassic Park, I even love Jurassic World. They have a really special place in my heart. I wanted to be a paleontologist when I was like 6 years old. So, any sort of dinosaur media, I get hella hyped when I see it, and Tempus Triad looked beautiful. The premise of Tempus Triad is relatively simple. You are a dude, you lost your family in an accident, and you have a bring it back from the past device at your super secret government facility, and you go in and you're desperate to see your wife and child again, so you activate the device, and instead of bringing back your wife and child, you bring back the way cooler dinosaurs. Sorry, wife and child, I would bring back dinosaurs too, just saying. And I love this game. Visually, it's stunning. It had a few things that I was finding frustrating in the game, but I'm gonna get to it. So, first things first, the music. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5, and that's because there isn't too much music. It's mostly sound design, and I wish there was like a little bit more music to just push it over the edge. I think that would have made a big difference. The characters of the story, you only know for sure the main character. You're finding out a little bit more about him. So I'm being a little lenient with it, but I would give it a 4 out of 5. Honestly, the characters are not the reason you're playing this game. This man's story is interesting, and I do hope that as you go, you get to learn a little bit more about him. But overall, I'm not playing it for him. I'm playing it because there's dinosaurs. Which means the story, 4 out of 5. I'm playing it for the story. I want to know more about this testing facility. The story only gets a 4 out of 5, even though I loved it, because I want to know more. I want some lore in there. As I was exploring, at no point is anything really explained fully. I mean, okay, I'm not looking for a full explanation. I do wish that there had been moments where I got little bits of lore to the story. We were kind of lacking in that. We don't really know much about the facility, maybe even just some notes to pick up. I think that would have taken an already really interesting story and pushed it over the edge and made it really incredible. Hopefully in the full release, we do get that. The mechanics of the game, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. And that's because I did have some issues with some of the mechanics of the game, and this is actually one of the only games I didn't finish. Of all of the games, I wasn't able to finish this one, which was kind of a bummer. And that's because there were a couple glitches in the game. The first glitch happened with the Therizinosaurus. When I got there the first time I triggered him, I think he worked as intended. I just died really quickly because I didn't know what to do. And after that he was glitched for me to the point where I couldn't proceed for a solid 10 minutes. I cut out a lot of it, including falling through the world, which was really funny, but I did end up cutting that out. It might be at the end of the video. I'm not sure. You guys will see. Or I will do it in editing. The other part that was frustrating was this game, like I said, I did not end up finishing. I saw I believe it was a Carnosaurus at the end. I saw the Carnosaurus, got the roar, it said to get out, and then I could not find where to go. I ran all around this area. You can't get out of the area with the Therizinosaurus, so I was like, well, I can't run back there, because the whole point of that area is you drop down into it and you're stuck. So I don't know where I was supposed to go. I don't know if I was supposed to trigger something and it didn't trigger, but it didn't work for me. And when I went to reset, it reset me to prior to the Therizinosaurus, and by that point I was like, I don't think I can do that part again. It was fun, but it was a little long, and yeah, that's the only reason that my mechanics are a little bit on the low side, because I bugged out my game. I broke it a little bit. But for the horror elements, 4.5 out of 5. So scary. That Therizinosaurus terrified me. Oh my god. I really dropped down into this area. Don't know what I was expecting. And rounded the corner, and the noise it makes the first time you go in there, it was horrifying. It was so scary. Seeing the Carnosaurus, having to sneak past the compies, having to go into the corn, or the tall grass, I guess. It wasn't actually corn, but we'll get to some corn later. That was like a whole dinosaur trauma, the tall grass, because I was like, oh my god, there's going to be raptors. There's always raptors in tall grass. It was so scary. It had me so on edge, and I really enjoyed it. So honestly, this game is super anticipated for me. It is not available yet, but I am hopeful that a full release is coming soon. So now, with that being said, I will let you see my trials and tribulations as I fight against the dinosaurs and try to live. The next game on my list is a game called Heartworm. Heartworm, to me, harkens back to games like the old Silent Hill games, the old Resi games with that like fixed camera angle, and also really reminded me of a newer game called Crow Country. It had that same general setup, and one of the things I really loved about this game was the customization of your general experience. If you want a nostalgia trip for those old Resi and Silent Hill games, this game has you covered. But before we get there, let's talk music. The music and sound design of this game, I gave a 4.5. It was such good sound design. The music was beautiful. Oh my gosh, so haunting. It really kept me feeling like I was immersed in this story. I wanted to know more about this story. I absolutely loved it. The characters, I give a 4 out of 5. The main character is an extremely compelling character. I want to learn more. I want to learn more about her motivations. Why did she go to this place even though she knows full well that she will not be returning? She's a very intriguing character, and I loved learning what little I did about her story, and I loved going into the story itself, which I also give a 4.5 out of 5.
Hey, sorry you haven't heard from me in a while. I've been busy trying to find out about this place. You're not gonna believe me, and I don't even know if I really believe it myself, but I guess a part of me must, because I'm going. It's far, on an abandoned road, a few miles from that power plant in the mountains. It was hard to find anything about it. I started on message boards, and I ended up in a chat room talking with people who know people who know people who've gone. They said a lot of crazy stuff, but the one thing that they all agreed on is that in that house, there's a room that can take you to the other side, to see the people that you've lost again. The thing is, no one who's gone has ever come back, and that's why I'm writing you. Not for advice, not to get you to talk me out of going. Actually, by the time you read this, I'll already be there. I just wanted to let you know, in case I don't come back.
That way you won't be wondering where I've gone. Either way, you don't have to worry though.
The world building, it's beautiful. There's a Fatal Frame-esque aspect to it where you actually get like your camera and that's what you're using to fight against these enemies. And I did like that it basically tells you at the beginning, fighting is not always the option. Sometimes you just have to avoid the enemies. Fighting is not always going to be worth it, especially when they each take like 6 shots to kill. Or I'm just bad. Could be. The story was so compelling. It was so haunting. Some of the documents that I was reading along the way, oh my gosh, they really like resonated with me and sat with me. The idea when you get into the funeral home, I really had to pause after I read through that document about places being filled with memories. It gave me a little bit of an existential crisis, I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to the mechanics of the game, this was one of the coolest things. You could customize your experience. You could customize whether you wanted old style graphics or newer, more fluid looking graphics. You could customize your camera angle. You could customize how it even worked when you would use your camera. You could do either a entirely like over the shoulder look, or you could do a fixed angle. I chose over the shoulder because I was like, we ain't making this. And you actually will see me make my selections, or probably already has because I've been rambling for a bit. And it was just so cool being able to customize your experience like this. And oh my gosh, I absolutely loved it. I loved that I had to actively choose whether to fight or to run. And the final boss battle that you do in the demo is really cool too. And last but not least, the horror element. This is definitely a more psychological horror than jump scare horror. I mean, granted, if you're afraid of a very certain creature at the end, you're going to have a bad time. Fortunately, in video games, I'm not afraid of that, only in real life. So, to me, it wasn't that it was scaring me outright, but it was kind of leaving me with this lasting psychological horror. There were moments of claustrophobia, and it was so cool. This one, 100% staying on my wish list. I really want to try this full release. It's not a game I would have played if you had asked me a couple years ago, but after tackling the Resi 2 remake, I'm like, no, this type of game is for me. This is a cool game. And Heartworm, it was beautiful. It's a beautiful game. The story seems like it's one that's going to really stick with you. And I will let you guys see the rest of that and see some snippets from my personal gameplay of it. Guys, we're on the home stretch now. My next game is Unknown Tapes. So here's the thing about Unknown Tapes. I told you guys with Tempus Triad, I'm real obsessed with dinosaurs. Yeah, Unknown Tapes was at the top of my list. I know this has been a demo that's been available for a little while, and spoiler alert, I've actually watched the entire demo being played. Some really incredible YouTubers have played this demo, and I saw it was being highlighted on Steam Next Fest, and I was like, I think it's my turn. No, I never want to play this game again. It was horrifying. It was awful. 10 out of 10. So, Unknown Tapes is it's a VHS-style horror game where everything is awful. I had a terrible time playing this game. You will actually, even though there is no camera, you can tell every moment that I get jump scared. You actually get to see me at one point. I get so badly jump scared that my camera just shakes and I pause the game because I'm literally taking deep breaths. I kept that game paused for a good few minutes. I cut out the few minutes, I swear. I had to like recenter myself. So, let's go over why I hated every moment of playing this game and why I didn't finish it. First things first, the music. 4.5 out of 5. The sound design of this game is astounding. It keeps you tense. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. I hated it. It was so awful. I felt so tense. I was sitting there like scrunched up. I was glad it wasn't being recorded because you were just gonna see me. That was what you were gonna see if you had seen me playing this. They did an amazing job on the sound design. The jump scares of whatever dinosaurs are haunting me in that moment. Horrifying. The characters, 3.5 out of 5. we're hearing a little bit about the characters, but I don't really know anything about the main character. I'm intrigued about this crazy dude who is, in theory, helping us. Not sure I believe he's actually helping me, but, again, it's like Tempus Triad. I'm not playing this game for the characters. I'm playing it for the dinosaurs, and I'm playing it for the lore. Which is why I give the story a 5 out of 5. Oh my god. I don't know how we got here. I don't know why they're dinosaurs. I didn't super care at the time because I was too busy being terrified. You do get bits of lore though as you're moving through it. You get to pick up dinosaur files that give you hints on what to do for each dinosaur. You get audio tapes that you can listen to that talk about this dude who is... he's not doing great. Like, he's got the power-hungry crazies. It's really cool. There's a lot of lore. I look forward to watching someone else play it. I have no interest in ever touching this game again. I think I will gift this game to a friend and let the friend play it for me. I really did love it. I really love this game. I really hated playing it. The mechanics of the game, I'm gonna give a 4.5 out of 5. I don't know about that sneaking mechanic. I feel like the sneaking mechanic did not entirely hit for me, but I think that's because we saw a demo of the sneaking mechanic. In general, though, the mechanics of what you're doing in the game, you're solving relatively simple puzzles, like looking around for different things. The mechanics were simple, but they need to be simple, because you're spending so much time just being afraid. I like the mechanics. I think the mechanics were really good. I look forward to learning about what the full release mechanics end up being and what they have in the future, because we only saw a few dinosaurs. And I don't believe in that sneaking mechanic, because I think the raptors are going to terrorize me no matter what. You'll see. You'll see what I mean. And last but not least, the horror. You might have guessed, but this is a 5 out of 5. I think I would give it a 6 out of 5 if I could. But just because I make the rules to my own rating system doesn't mean I'm going to break my arbitrary rules. This game's horrifying. I was so tense. I got so scared. I had to take breaks while I played this. I wasn't even playing it that long. It's a short demo. No. I didn't even finish it. You're gonna see. You're gonna see exactly the moment that I decided that I was finished. You will see what happens to me, and I'm just gonna let that play out for you guys now. Have fun! It's on my wish list, but only to gift to someone else.
Apparently one bastard survived. You can't seem to proceed. This time I help you. We'll see each other soon. It's July 18, 1998. I fooled you idiots. You wanted to get rid of me, and I said I got rid of you. The results of those experiments will never be yours. Never. Never! Try to fool me now. Oh, that's right. You can't. Because you probably are already dead. Today I'm feeling generous. If this art is ever heard by anyone, bear well know that the safe located in front of the entrance to the underground complex is 0936.
And now, last but certainly not least, my favorite demo that I played from Steam Next Fest, and the game that I own the full release for and bought the second it went to full release. I give you Creepy Shift.
It was early autumn. A dense fog was slowly drifting over the marshes along Route 285 in New Mexico, occasionally revealing the reflection of a strangely red moon. Before midnight struck, I lit up my favorite cigarette and stared with disgust at the roadside diner. I was going to spend the entire night there, washing dishes and doing some minor inventory work, whatever that meant. I decided not to complain after all. The job was exceptionally well paid. In just one night, I could earn enough to pay off 2 installments of the loan that had tied my hands, along with the unplanned fatherhood.
I love listening to creepypastas. I really have enjoyed some of the audiobook ones. Tales from the Gas Station, that's become one of my favorites. Accounts from a Lonely Radio broadcast, that I always forget the name of it. Doesn't mean I don't love it. And Baraska, those are some of my favorite audiobooks to listen to. And Creepy Shift is actually based on a short creepypasta. You go into your first shift at a roadside diner, and it has some weird rules. Yeah, I'm never working the night shift.
Hey, this is Eddie from the first shift. Listen, kid, you really shouldn't be here tonight. Look, I know how this is gonna sound, but I got a bad feeling. Like weird shit might happen. Do me a favor. If you find a note with some strange rules today, just do what it says. I left one for you in the kitchen. I found it last year when I was doing extra hours. And let's just say, strange things were happening back then. Though most likely, everything should be okay. Just focus on your job. The list of your duties is on the board. Take care.
But this game, I loved it. I loved it so much. I'm going to take you through my ratings. I'm going to show you a little bit of what it was like playing the game. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I love doing little tasks in games, so I knew I would love this. So, first things first, the music. I give that a 4.5 out of 5. The sound design of this game is amazing. Oh my goodness gracious, they did a fantastic job. I played through the full release of the game, and it only gets better. The characters, 4 out of 5. The main dude, he's a dude. You get some backstory on him in the very beginning. He's working this night shift to make some extra cash because he suddenly has a child. It's not bad. It's not bad. The lore that you learn throughout the game about what's happening within the diner is probably the cooler character development that you get, and not so much for the main character. But overall, I enjoyed it. The story of the game, definitely a 4.5 out of 5. I enjoyed the fact that I got to play my little tasks. I got to clean, I got to put things away, and I really did enjoy that. And that being interlaced with the story as you slowly find out what happened and why the blood moons suck so badly. It was cool. It's a cool story. When I played full release, it's an even cooler story. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. When it comes to the mechanics, 4.5 out of 5. It's simple, it's relatively easy. Sometimes it's a little janky, but I think that's just kind of what happens when you add physics. Physics make games janky. No, I really like the different mechanics you can do. You get to close the blinds, you get to clean off the tables, you get to put, clean the dishes, take out the trash, put things away. And then as you go on, you have more and more mechanics with keeping yourself protected from the diner and having to hide at the opportune moments and perform tasks that will actually save your life as you try in vain to make money. So the mechanics of the game, simple but very concise, and I appreciated that. I hate that jukebox with every fiber of my being. And last but not least, the horror. 5 out of 5. It was so spooky. It was so scary. It left me so tense feeling as I am racing around trying to do all my tasks. But also having to, in the demo, I just worried about the jukebox and having to run around and find the jukebox sometimes. You're not going to see that part in the demo, but when I show you guys the full release of the game, you will actually get to see that part, and that jukebox will haunt me. Honestly, everything about that game will perhaps haunt me. It was really, really fun. I had a great time. In theory, I didn't actually complete this demo either. I went to the first time I lost, but I felt like I had seen a lot of the demo by that point, which is why I didn't continue it on to find the actual end of the demo. Honestly though, I really, really liked it, and I'm really excited to share a playthrough of the full release with you guys. Coming soon. So I'm going to let the rest of my footage from the demo of this game play out so you guys can get a feel for what you're going to be seeing with Creepy Shift and the game that was my favorite from Steam Next Fest. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that at least one of these games appealed to you, and something that I've learned through talking to a lot of indie game developers is wishlisting games really helps them. So if any of these games are ones you want to keep an eye on, even if you can't pick them up right now, throw them a wish list and leave in the comments which one was your favorite that you got to see, or whether there were any other horror games from Steam Next Fest that stood out to you. A couple that I didn't record videos for but really enjoyed was the newest I'm on Observation Duty and We Escaped a Twisted Game. I enjoyed both of those a lot. I just didn't get a chance to record footage for them. But yeah, if you liked this video, why not leave it a like, maybe give me a nice little comment, or even subscribe. I post videos once a week. Day does seem to vary, and I'm trying to get more into posting shorts, hopefully daily. Yee. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope one of these games spoke to you and I could have shown you at least one game to add to your wish list or pick up a copy of. And with that being said, have a fantastic rest of your day, guys. Bye!